What's up, guys, and welcome back to the ViceCityGamerz podcast. Just a couple of guys from the Miami area coming together to talk everything gaming. As usual, I'm your host, Jay, and I'm joined, as usual, by my boys, BJ and Chris, the Xbox guys. And here we are, man. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. We got a long list of things to talk about here, but right now the internet's blowing up, gaming is blowing up. Everybody's talking about what is going on with Xbox right now. So, yeah, let's get right into it. I think I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start with some quick notes I took here. Just wanted to kind of start with how this whole thing came to be, where this all kind of out of nowhere seemingly came from. So, this past week, Hi-Fi Rush, an Xbox exclusive game from last year, started dropping its own Easter eggs, hinting that the game was coming to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. They started having these little icons. It's very clear. It's not like they were trying to hide it. They're hinting that this game, the Xbox exclusive game, that was a pretty big deal. It was a very exciting game that came out last year, is now coming to to all the consoles basically. So shortly after this, rumors started to drop that now Sea of Thieves, another Xbox game that's been around a little bit longer, several years, I think, at this point, is also making its way to quote unquote other consoles. So while it was odd to hear that Xbox exclusives are coming to its competitors, things got a little bit more crazy when the rumors started circulating from reliable sources now that Starfield and even possibly the upcoming Indiana Jones games are coming to quote unquote other consoles. So Xbox fans have been very vocal all over the internet about this, including some people threatening even Xbox staff and claiming that they're going to sell their Xboxes if this actually happens. As we know, Starfield is the first huge game to drop exclusively for Xbox after they acquired Bethesda Studios, makers of Skyrim, Fallout, Doom, and other popular titles. And actually, I forgot to mention Redfall, but it's probably better that we don't mention it. So, yeah, it turned out to be kind of rough. So, yeah, what do you guys think so far about all this? I know this kind of came out of nowhere, and I know that Xbox is you guys' console. I think that's something kind of unique about us. It's, I'm kind of like a PlayStation guy. You guys got your Xboxes. You guys also own PlayStations. Not to say that you guys are against it or anything like that, but you guys have more of that history and nostalgia with Xbox. You've been here for the whole ride. So I know this comes in kind of out of nowhere and a little bit even surprising and shocking. Um, if it's true, we don't know anything yet, but you know, have at it, guys. What do you think?
Well, honestly, with all the talk that's been going on, I feel like Xbox is always, I don't want to say a victim, but there's a lot of fanboyism that starts rumors and people go crazy with the rumors, and every time Xbox is climbing up, they get hit with some shit, and they do a terrible job at communicating what is to be expected, you know? Uh, they don't deny it. In this case, they didn't deny anything. They didn't say it. We're gonna see the briefing. But my initial thoughts is, and it's weird because it's on like a primal instinct level. If I would say, I'm an Xbox guy. I've been here since the original Xbox. I've spent thousands of dollars on this console, this this ecosystem. Some games I'll be okay with, but you're talking about Halo, Gears of War. Those things make people want to get Xbox. So if you're putting all of your software on another platform, what's the point of having your hardware? And for me, I love Xbox. Like that's my ecosystem. I think the services there is the best box, the dashboard, the the live chat, the party chat, uh the store, everything about it I love. That's where I game. The controller's my favorite. The only part that I'd be scared of with these rumors, because we don't know what's going on, would be losing my Xbox hardware, right? They're the best at making
Right,
hardware,
right.
in my opinion. But if I looked now on a different level, if say PlayStation was gonna release some games on Xbox, I'd be okay with it. You know, so I gotta stop that little little I don't know, childish instinct, because at the end of the day, if all of this rumors were to become true, right? And they say, hey, we're just a software company like Windows. It is what it is, man. I've gone through too many heartbreaks in my life to be uh I don't know,
Losing sleep
lost
about
over
this one.
Xbox.
Well, your heart was
Yeah,
broken in
man.
2001, right? Was it April
Dude,
2001 when
my
Dreamcast went
Dreamcast
out? Yeah,
days. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
but
I mean,
Xbox picked that up. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, man,
Hey,
I
don't
think
worry.
that it was all was
PlayStation's
a
gonna pick up the Xbox. I'm sorry, too soon, too soon.
Jerk.
Nah, it's
Wow.
No, at the end of
it's
the day, man, I don't feel like this is anything to cry over or be worried about. I think that yeah, they've had mixed messaging, but these games from the jump street, they were told Phil told us that they were going to evaluate and put the games where they want to be, whether that be PlayStation, Nintendo, or just strictly Xbox exclusive. And I think right now it could be one of those things where like you see Bungie on PlayStation when they acquired them, they're like, "Nah, we're still gonna put our games on the other platforms to bring in that cheddar." It could be this. Bethesda is saying, you know, they want their games on multiple platforms. That's why they built it so that more people can experience their games. So it could be one of those things, or it could be one of the like internal struggles. Like Jay and I, for example, we're in the same career. We see firsthand the power struggle at the top,
yep.
and it is what it is. Politics ruins everything. So you got too many people that don't know what they're talking about telling us to do our job a certain way, and we're like, no, that's not what's best. You know, we don't want to do that. Could be one of those things too. At the end of the day, I think if it is one of those things, then I think we'll see Phil step out, because if they are gonna put all of the Xbox games on other platforms, I don't think that's his vision. I don't think he's gonna be part of that. But anyway, I'm talking too much.
No,
Just
man.
to touch on what you just said, BJ, about Phil Spencer not being a part of that, if all those games go to PlayStation and Nintendo, I think there has to be some exclusivity for Xbox to survive. I think when they still make consoles or whatever it is, they has to have exclusive games. If not, what's the point of it? They'll be just a studio like say like Sega making
Yeah,
games,
Sega survived though.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, but do we want that? Do you want to have just two consoles? Do you want to just have be a Nintendo
No,
and
it's my
PlayStation? No, I
baby.
don't want that. No, it's not. We don't
Mm.
want to do that. We want more than one console, so there's competition. There's more. There's inspiration for developers to make better games for us instead of having two studios who are going to focus on two different genres of games, right? God of War on one end, Mario on the other end, right? And we get the same crap every year with no innovation. So Microsoft has been known to innovate things. Microsoft came out, with the live service, which they didn't. Nobody's done it better than they have. I mean, they've fallen short on certain things like the Kinect. They fell short on that because I think it was too far ahead of its time when it came out. They tried to compete with Nintendo with the Wii and everything, and I think the Kinect was a little too far ahead for people to actually grasp the concept of it. And then the whole
Remember
thing that
this
came
point
out,
real quick, guys. Remember that point. I want to go back to it later.
which one? The Kinect.
What you're just saying right now.
Yeah. Microsoft has been known to innovate things. So this new thing that they're coming out with the whole Game Pass thing is a new innovation that Microsoft is trying to do. But I think it's too soon. They're 3-4 years too soon into doing this. I mean, it's a great thing for us to get Game Pass day one games all the time. But that's because that's exclusive games for Xbox itself. If everybody's gonna get day one games, what's the point of having an Xbox console where I could play the same thing on a PC and I could play the same thing on PlayStation, Nintendo per se? I really hope that that's not the case, because if that's the case, then I think Phil Spencer will walk out. He'll leave Microsoft. He'll definitely leave, I think, because his vision has always been to grow Xbox, to make it bigger than what it is, but to still have those exclusive games within Xbox. And it's okay to to share a couple of games here and there, but the big ones like Halo, Gears of War, we can't give those up, because there's no way that PlayStation is going to give us The Last of Us, right? They would not give up God of War, and they definitely were not going to give Spider-Man. Those are games from their studios that they kept. Santa Monica, Insomniac, right? Those are their studios. So why would they want to part with those games just to lose revenue on their side? I understand that putting it out to the masses, in the end, it might have, give more money to the company. But right now, it's too late to release Hi-Fi Rush to PlayStation. The game's been out a year. How many people are going to buy it? I don't think many. So the money they're trying to recoup from that, I don't think is there.
No,
Right?
I actually, what's funny is I hadn't thought of this until now. I mean, I'm fragmented and all over the place, so I definitely have thoughts that are just looming out there. But when you mention about them possibly going third party, and then you also mentioned about how when Xbox One came out, it was ahead of its time. Remember, I love that these videos live in the internet for the end of time, because you can go back to our episode 1 or 2 where I mentioned, oh, don't worry, it's going to be Xbox in the end, and everybody else is going to be behind. They're going to get the cloud. Everybody's going to jump on that. They're going to own all these different studios, and they're just going to be raking in the money. Everything's going to be stamped with Xbox, and there may not be
Right.
consoles, but they're still going to be at the front of it. So right now, it looks like there's a money problem. I had something here in my notes for
Right.
later on that Activision Blizzard King cost them almost $70 billion with a B. And apparently today I'm hearing, and it was on the Last Stand Media podcast that they had, that it's apparently Xbox or Microsoft is now finding out that that company, those three, were not as profitable as they thought it was. And if you want to do simple math, they're making supposedly around $2 billion a year, which is a ton of money. But if that's accurate,
For the amount of
then
spend.
it's going to take them 35 years to make their money back to then start making money. And if you want to turn it profitable to all of a sudden blow things up, how do you do it? World of Warcraft. I was excited because thinking, oh, maybe World of Warcraft will be covered by the membership. But no, it's going to be two separate memberships. Same thing with Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 14 coming to Xbox, but not Game Pass. So you got to pay full price for it and pay $15 a month, I think it is. So there's these little ways of making money. Basically, they're kind of painted into a corner where they need more money to justify to keep this whole thing alive. We know, we all watched the documentary about how Xbox came up through everything, and how Microsoft was always kind of like, we're not so sure about this. Where's the money? I don't know. We're a software company. You want to make a console, and I feel like from Xbox 360 era where they were just killing it, they still technically numbers wise didn't win that generation, because PS3 sold more in one less year than the Xbox 360 was out. But I'll be honest with you right now, if the Red Ring of Death didn't happen, it would be a whole different story, and the landscape right now might be completely different, because there would be a lot more Xboxes out there than the PS3, and then that next generation would have been totally different, in my opinion. But I feel like they're in a corner where they have to put games out there to just try to recoup some money or make some money, and I don't see how else they could do it right now, because I was always asking, and I know that I've mentioned it to you guys a couple of times here and there. I'm like, man, it doesn't add up. You're telling me that they have 25 million subscribers to Game Pass. How many of those are PC? Because the PC people are only paying $10 a month. and then the rest are paying 18 bucks a month, and you got 25 million. But how much did it cost to make all these massive games that are going to be limited to Game Pass only, which is great. It's great for you guys. 100%. It's awesome. It's great. It's extremely consumer friendly, but it just doesn't add up how it could be sustainable. They have too much money to fail. They're too big to fail, so to speak. But there could be a point where Microsoft might say, "Hey, Xbox, I really don't like how this is going. You've been telling us for all these years that it's going to get better. You'll see. We're going to be ahead of it, and we're not seeing it." There's a chance that Phil Spencer might not leave on his own will. Like they might want to put a fall guy for this and be like, "Hey guys, don't worry, we're fixing things up." I don't know. There's a lot there. It's all speculation, just like this whole thing is speculation. But then again, like you mentioned, BJ, Phil Spencer didn't deny it. He said, "Hey, we're gonna talk at the end of the month, but we're gonna talk soon. We'll talk next week, and it's gonna be a business meeting." When have we ever heard about a business meeting in gaming? Like that's something that's for the shareholders. It's almost like, "Hey, I was gonna have this meeting with the shareholders, but you guys found out about it. All right, I guess you guys can come too. We gotta talk." Like, what does that mean? I'm really interested to see what the hell that is even gonna look like.
Right.
They make it seem like it's an internal battle between the higher ups.
That's what it sounds like.
Business model. But I tell you right now, I'm not a business person at all. I'm terrible with money.
Same.
But I would assume, just thinking, like, bro, they own Blizzard now. Remake StarCraft. Come out with a sequel.
Please.
That shit would fucking do it. And put it on everywhere. Put it everywhere.
Yeah.
These Bethesda IPs, Elder Scrolls. Hey, if you want times exclusive, go ahead. Put it on. Elder Scrolls, bro, I think that should be PlayStation all day. As many people, everybody loves Elder Scrolls. Fallouts, same thing. Do a timed exclusive, then put it on other platforms. Right now, I feel like everybody's making a big deal. Every time it seems like Xbox is doing great, there's some rumor or some shit that goes down. Or, I'm gonna be honest, because I've been part of this team for a long time. It's like being a Dolphins fan down here. They step on their own toes. They really do. They don't know how to explain shit. They don't know how to do shit. They've been a little bit too soon. But I take that with what I just said right now to say this. Xbox One would have been amazing if they stuck with the damn vision. Because the vision that they had is what's today. The Last of Us TV series, Halo TV series. They would have had all of these exclusive IPs to Xbox, Gears of War. They would have had all of that, TV shows and all, on that platform. But no, it didn't work out. They changed direction and they got scared because a few people talk on Twitter. And I feel like the same thing right now. This could be a ploy. All right, remember when they were saying that the Game Pass price is going to get raised like $10 or some shit?
Right.
And everybody went crazy. They're like, yo, what the hell? And they didn't do anything for like a week or two. Just heard the feedback. And they're like, yeah, guys, we're not doing that right now. We're not doing that. Ended up getting raised a couple bucks later on.
I remember when that came out. Yeah, they basically were kind of like slid it in. And then it's like, oh, just kidding. And,
test the water.
Business. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah.
It could be something like that right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's and yeah, behind the scenes right now they're probably, I'm totally speculating here, but they're probably sitting there in a big table with all the games laid out and said, all right, which ones are going to be the least catastrophic to put on PlayStation and Switch right now, and which are the ones that we have to keep in our pocket. I think that symbolically you can't put Halo on PlayStation. It'd be nice to share it with the world.
I don't know, man. I would. Part of me would love to murk these PlayStation fanboys in some Halo, dog. Show them where the real power's at.
Yeah, the same fanboys that leaked all this stuff. I don't know, bro. I don't think I actually again, speculation. It could be this internal conflict because there's a lot of information that it just doesn't sound like something that would be handy to a lot of people, out there. It's almost like, I know you've mentioned a couple of times the internal struggle, but it's almost like that internal struggle has gotten so crazy that people at the top who just don't disagree completely with what's going on are like, oh yeah, watch this. Hey, Kotaku, hey, whoever, to all these media sources, wouldn't it be crazy if blah, blah, blah? And then they're like, oh shit, we're hearing it from somebody higher up. This might be happening. And then all of a sudden it's out there. Like it's almost like a way to not sabotage your own people, but almost like take a look at and see what's going to happen. Oh, everybody's in uproar? Yeah, I told you. Maybe you want to walk that idea back. So hopefully they are, figuring things out, because Indiana Jones is a game that a lot of Xbox fans are really looking forward to. And to say that it's going to come out on PlayStation also, even if it's a timed exclusive, personally, I think that if it was a timed exclusive, they're in trying to make the money so fast right now. I don't think it would be a full year. I think it might be 3 or 6 months.
6 months.
So what a slap in the face to all these people who
good.
are, I think 6 months is fine. I don't think it has to be a full year. Even PlayStation, like that's not necessary.
Look,
now they're doing day in and day in for PC. So PlayStation.
In all honesty, man, I really think as an Xbox fan, I wouldn't mind them not putting every game on day one for Game Pass. It's like if to selected games, yeah, this game's gonna be released day one. This one's not. Instead of releasing everything day one for Game Pass holders, I think right now they need to make some kind of money for the system to survive, if that's what the issue is.
Oh, Chris. Oh.
Why
try
not?
to take my cartridges away. Now you try to take my day one.
But I'm not saying every game.
Yo.
I mean, I'm not saying every game. Selected games, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna check myself into the hospital.
But what I'm saying, instead of releasing on day one, release it a month later. We still get to play it a month later, right?
Yeah.
If you really want it right there and then, buy it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I think
then
Gears.
they also made like Starfield, like a 5-day early release, and look, people paid for that shit.
I paid the $39 for it, and it was free.
So,
but
yeah.
I paid it. Yeah, I did it because I wanted to play the damn game, so I bought it, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it whatsoever.
They'll find a way. Jay, what were you gonna say? I didn't mean to cut
sorry.
you off, man.
Oh, no. I was just thinking, I think that you can't put everything out there on one shot. And that's like Activision Blizzard. You have all these different games and they haven't put any of them on yet. Like, I was expecting to by now, they'd be like, hey guys, guess what? Next month, boom, Diablo 4, free included.
Right.
Or, oh, we're going to go back. We're going to put Diablo 2 and 3 on here. Here you go. Enjoy. But at the same time, they probably don't want to, blow their load. But, but a good idea would be take the Gears of War games, make a collection, digital only. Don't even worry about printing a box or anything like that for now, to test the waters, and sell it to Sony and Switch too. Why not? But just Gears, because what I'm thinking is Halo and Gears. You got to keep the Halo, because Halo's like stamped all over the Xbox and everything. Didn't come out on time with the Xbox like it was supposed to, but it's synonymous with Xbox. Gears, it is too, but maybe that's a softer blow where the PlayStation people could be like, oh, let's check this out, and then make them potentially hundreds of millions on games that you already have. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be, but I wouldn't. I mean, I'd say that's just me being selfish. But I feel like if they do what you're saying, that's gonna implode the Xbox. Like,
I got you.
The
So you're saying-
hardware is where I want to live. Like, I know they're a software company and all these games are from them, but bro, they make the best hardware, and I feel the most comfortable with that ecosystem. And if they do what you're saying, I'm scared that they're not gonna have that hardware.
The menus.
And yeah, I play Xbox games on my Ally, and it feels good, but it's not the same as sitting down in front of this beautiful monitor with this badass system that I have. And like that's what I love. So if they do end up putting their like king IPs, like you said, Xbox is associated with Halo and Gears. I feel like those two are
sacred. Leave them alone.
Oh yeah, sacred. It's like
Nintendo giving up Zelda.
Yeah, never happened.
That one.
That would be amazing, actually, for us. But
yeah, but Nintendo would never give Zelda up.
You shouldn't do that. Mario should not be. I mean,
Master Chief.
It's the only thing that drives these consoles. Like that's why I bought the other ones. I bought a PlayStation to experience those Last of Us. If we all playing, there's no need for me to buy that.
I agree with you there, especially, I mean, thinking about the PlayStation exclusives, I can see Spider-Man going on Xbox and to everybody who wants it. And that one kind of makes sense to me. It's something that doesn't belong to PlayStation. It's Spider-Man. It belongs to everybody.
Yeah, Spider-Man's worldwide.
Right.
Yeah,
it wasn't something that was exclusively made for Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been around since like the 50s, 60s, something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Everybody's known Spider-Man. We grew up so that Spider-Man belongs to everybody, not just to one system.
But now,
not like Mario that belongs exclusively to Nintendo.
Right. Now, I will tell you something. I can clearly and vividly remember watching, what's this guy's name from Bethesda?
Todd
Howard, thank you. I could remember vividly Todd Howard talking about, Fallout 76 and making all these promises and everything like that. And they dropped the ball with 76, which, by the way, I'm creating my little backlog list in order, and Fallout New Vegas is on there pretty high up. And when I beat that, I'm going to give Fallout 76 another chance, and we're going to see how it is after all these years of them working on it. I'm glad they didn't abandon it, but I'm still not forgiving them for what they did. But basically, you're looking now, and as soon as Bethesda got acquired, and then now Phil Spencer wasn't clear about what games are coming to other consoles and which ones are going to just stay Xbox exclusives. And then once the Starfield thing started coming out and they started making it pretty clear that it was going to be just for Xbox, at that point, I had in my mind a decision to make. I either have to get an Xbox to now play Bethesda games, or I can just say, well, I have a big backlog of games and everything like that. It sucks. It's sad, but I guess I'm just not getting those games. So maybe games like that can be the ones that can come to other consoles, ones that are new to Xbox, but are not synonymous with Xbox, obviously, like Halo and Gears. Like Starfield may have come out for you guys, but do you feel like attached to it like that, or is that something that would be
like
fine?
that? They could put Starfield on.
Yeah, but that's a way to attach new IPs and creative thing. Like, who knows if Starfield would have been a hit? I'm a firm believer that the media is biased. If that shit came on Sony, it wouldn't have scored as low. That's my opinion.
90
right?
They got 90 Metacritic.
Probably.
Yeah. and none of this big drama. If Sony acquired Bethesda, I think it'd be a different narrative all around. But
IGN gives Starfield
what happens
10 out of
if,
10.
say, Machine Games, right? Indiana Jones, it's a new IP. I mean, it's old because Indiana Jones is already famous.
Right.
But say they do something like, I don't know. What would be a good example? All right, you come out with a new game that's kind of like Sonic, but it's your own thing, and you release it. Or Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars was brand new, right? It's based on the Messenger world, but it's relatively new. If you came out with that as Xbox Game Studios, and people are like, damn, this game's really cool, that could kind of be like a new Gears for the franchise. But you're never going to know that if you just put them out there to everybody right off rip. So it wouldn't, how would I say this? There would be no reason to buy your Xbox, even though you got a fresh ass new game that's amazing, that can now no longer be associated with your brand because they could play it everywhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. So, you know what? That kind of segues into a question that I have for you guys. What do you expect Phil Spencer to say next week? And what do you want him to say? What is the solution to the problem that they have? And your best guess, what do you think is going to happen next week?
I think the solution would be that I hope what he says is, yes, we're going to keep making hardware, right? Considering there talks about making another digital console, and there's talks about making a handheld, right? We'll keep the hardware going, but we're going to release certain games, certain games, like per se, like let's say Indiana Jones, because like we were saying about Spider-Man. Spider-Man belongs to all of us, kind of thing, because we all grew up watching Spider-Man, right? We're gonna release Indiana Jones 3 months down the road on PlayStation after being released on Xbox for 3 months. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Because like we were saying, Spider-Man belongs to everybody. So should Indiana Jones. We all grew up watching it. We all know, we love it. Why not let everybody enjoy it, regardless of what console they have? But on that same note, we can't release every game that we have on our catalog that's exclusive to Xbox, to PlayStation, and Nintendo. Pick certain games. Hi-Fi Rush, I have no attachment to it. Go ahead and release it on PlayStation. Indiana Jones, go ahead and release it on PlayStation. But not day one. Release it 2-3 months on the road. The new Blade movie game is coming out. Why not? We all grew up watching Blade. Let's release that as well. But Xbox gets exclusivity first for the first 3 to 4 months or whatever it says. And then we release it to the rest of the population. Right? So I really think and hope that that's the route they'll go. Instead of saying, no, we're going to close down our hardware productions. We'll no longer be manufacturing consoles. We're just going to do content. I really don't want that. I really hope it doesn't happen, because it's going to drive competition down. There's going to be 2 competing consoles, not 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to be good for the industry. It's not going to be. It's going to be. It's going to be death. It's going to be the death, man, of gaming, man. I really hope not.
Yeah, I dealt with one heartbreak with the Dreamcast, bro. So if they do kill the console, it's gonna be a sad, sad day for me again. But I'll get over it. At the end of the day, I really don't think that this is gonna be that big of a deal like everybody's making it. I don't think that they would be that stupid to just forfeit the Xbox ecosystem and just go back on their word. Like, we've been waiting for this for so long, and I feel like Xbox is at that point where now it's gonna start flowing and flowing and flowing.
We're almost there, dude.
Xbox fans have stuck
there
with this shit for so long, waiting for this point, and they just took over. Like, Xbox makes more money than Windows, I think it was.
Yeah, Xbox is now making like 3%. It's the highest profiting part of Microsoft right now by a little bit, but it is the number one, which is crazy to think.
Yes, something's working. It's not just all negative like everybody's reporting. So I don't think that they would do something so stupid to go back on everybody and just have lied to everybody. They always said they were gonna make the most powerful consoles, right? And they did say that they were gonna release these things on a game-to-game basis, which I think they should. Exactly what Chris said. Some IP, yourself too, Jay. Some IP should be for everybody, but at the same time, you have to lock down some exclusives, because that brings people into your. I mean, I know the ecosystem's Game Pass now. That's what everybody wants us to start thinking about. But at the same time, man, your hardware is mad important. It's mad important. If you don't take the chances with new games, like Stellar Blade, is Stellar Blade
That's a PlayStation IP. I don't think it's coming out to Xbox.
I get that, but it's a new IP, right?
I'm not sure.
Is it Stellar Blade or is it Stellar Blade 2? I can't remember now.
No, it's Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade. With a big dunk.
Yeah, I'm gonna be all over that when it comes out.
Yeah,
but if you don't take a chance and put out something like Stellar Blade to be an exclusive for your console, then what's the point of having that hardware?
Right.
You know, that's the only thing that I'm scared of. But I don't think it's gonna be all doom and gloom, man. I really don't.
And you know what, bro? And you know what else? To all these so-called Xbox fans who are out there treating the Xbox like a freaking LeBron James jersey and trying to burn it down before the announcement's even out, shame on you, man. Shame on you. We don't even know what's going on yet.
Any of those, but
I know, but like everybody's, I'm gonna sell my Xbox like it's a LeBron James jersey. Yeah. Get out of here. Get out of here.
You know how much that shit's gonna be worth now? If it goes out like that,
you're gonna keep it in my. I'm gonna pay the gold to keep it in my closet.
what were you gonna say, Jay?
Um, I found an old article because I felt like I heard that, typically consoles are not where they make money. PlayStation, Xbox,
It's hardware.
oh,
It's
with the
games.
exception of the Switch, because the Switch is, they're special, the way they do things. But
Cheap as fuck.
yeah, these fucking assholes. So, okay, they find ways to make the console for less money, and then they keep the price the same. Black Friday comes around, yeah, we're gonna keep it the same, but then we'll throw in a
We'll give you
free game
$5
for
off.
you. Yeah,
We give you $5 off.
not even. The Nintendo Switch has never actually gone on sale. If there's ever been a
Never.
They
sale,
don't
it's been
fold.
something done. Yeah, it's
With a
been done
bundle.
by the company, by itself. I'm sorry, by like Target, Walmart, whoever, if it's even
Right.
gone down. So the article I found is from 2022 November, so not even a full 2 years ago, and it was Phil Spencer saying that they're losing $200 per Xbox Series X that they're making. I don't think they're still losing that much because they become more efficient over time and they learn how to make it for
Right.
cheaper. But I know they're
Right.
not making money off of it, so that is not really a way that they're going to be profitable. It's got to be the games. And now that I think about it, Xbox is the most profitable part of Microsoft, but is that because they're including the profits of Activision Blizzard? Or are they somehow, or is
No,
that just
I
like
think
Game Pass?
I doubt it.
that's not
I
including that because I
doubt it.
think
Okay.
they're not seeing any profit yet. I think from Activision yet.
Well, Xbox is doing the
Well, they're,
best Xbox has ever done. Why would they sit there and turn now and like adjust
Right.
their? I just don't see a
Oh, just give
smart
in,
ass
man.
company like that. But there
yeah,
is a chance that they could be looking at other stuff. I mean, I'm sure they're
yeah,
looking at other stuff that we're not. And what if they end up being?
At the end of the day,
Hey,
we're
that
not
shit takes
businessmen, so we don't
$200.
know.
yeah.
You know.
A pivot like this is something that usually happens when you see something. Like somebody saw something that scared them, and they said, "We need to try
Mm-hmm.
something different right away." And I will tell you, I'm surprised it took me a while to kind of recall this, but this isn't anything brand new. This is stuff that has been in talks behind the scenes and is now getting to us, the normies. And the reason I say that is because, um, according to articles and then people that are in the know now, Xbox already has PlayStation dev kits as of a few months ago. So it's kind of believed that Xbox has already had talks with PlayStation, maybe with a non-disclosure or maybe a professional conversation between the higher
Courtesy.
ups. Hey, listen,
Right.
would you consider having Game Pass on your PlayStation? And I think that was probably a hard no. And the reason that I say that is because if the Messenger is on PlayStation for $20, and then all of a sudden here comes Game Pass, and it's like, okay, the company that has the Messenger, Sabotage, was making money off of Game Pass and was making money every time that the game sold on PlayStation, sold on Switch. But now here comes this service that completely eliminates basically um the money they could make on PlayStation or Switch. So it's common sense on the business part that having Game Pass on PlayStation was probably a no-go. Now I could see why Switch would do it because Switch right now has their eShop full of a bunch of trash, crappy fake games, and it's just not good. And if they were to do that and take advantage of the cloud to kind of support, maybe not run the whole game off the cloud, but have the cloud dump a little extra help on there, it could maybe be something that makes a lot more sense, especially being mobile. You'd have to be on Wi-Fi or whatever. Um, but that's something to keep in mind there. Like the dev kits are with them because Xbox probably said, all right, we're not going to put Game Pass on there, fine, but can we sell you some of our games? And PlayStation is probably like, here's some dev kits, make it run on there. And don't make it run worse than it does on yours. So you could say, well, it's the better console, so of course it looks better. No, I mean, if you develop it properly, it's going to be so close that you won't be able to tell the difference. Like in a lot of these popular games that come out on both consoles, you can barely tell the difference. So I don't know. I feel like this stuff has been in the background, and now leaked out, maybe in advance of that business meeting that was already going to happen. But speculation. I don't know shit.
You know, what I've noticed too in the past few years that I've noticed. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like when Xbox was releasing games for Xbox One and Xbox 360, a lot of the games that were being released, they were multiplayer. You know, like even at one point, Mass Effect got to be a multiplayer game co-op, right? I haven't seen that much lately. Like, you know, we had Titanfall for Xbox, which was great. I haven't seen that game come back. You know, like the only really multiplayer game that I see people playing online is either COD, Call of Duty, right? Fortnite, and that's basically it. Like big competitive games like that, like multiplayer shooters. There's not many out there. You know, and that was a big, I think, driving thing when the 360 was around. They had a lot of multiplayer games at one time. They had Gears of War, they had Call of Duty, they had Fortnite, they had not Fortnite, I'm sorry, Titanfall. They had the what was the game with, they were actually in the snow. It was like an ice environment kind of game that with grappling hooks and stuff like that. You know, and
You're making me think of Lost Odyssey, but it's probably not that. Or Lost,
no, it's not that.
Lost Planet.
Lost Planet. That's what it was.
Planet?
Yes, Lost Planet.
Oh yeah, that game looked really great.
Yeah, it was great, man. And of course Halo, but I think they've gone away from that a little bit and try to focus more on like a single player, games, because everybody wants them as well. Like PlayStation has some great ones, so why not make some for Xbox? But I think they've gone away from that formula as well.
They need to get back to that formula. Pretty good job of being diverse, man.
Yeah, I know.
I think the Xbox ecosystem, it's not all like a pivot to like just first person or third person over the shoulder PlayStation type.
That's
games.
What it feels like right now. That's what it feels like right now.
I mean, like, yeah, a lot of people have lost it. Like, this ain't nothing new. We suffered that shit with Mass Effect. Mass Effect was an Xbox exclusive, you know. And then when that shit came out on PlayStation, I don't know, it was like a year or two after, maybe even more. It didn't affect anybody. It made everything better. More people got to experience such great games. You know, they don't want to, like, now the new norm is to remake all of these games. They could do the same shit. You know? What was a good one that all the Resident Evils that are coming out, for example. You know? They even being presented as Game of the Year nominees. Like, yo, you can do that on the side. It doesn't take as much money to remake a game, right? You're reusing the assets that were there before. You're just enhancing certain things with the engine and stuff. I know it sounds a lot easier than what I'm saying, but I mean, it sounds a lot easier than what it is in real life, but it doesn't cost as much. So the profits that you can make on something like that on the back end could kind of recoup.
I think with the Resident Evils, like if you put like Resident Evil 2, what the remake was, you know, it looks immaculate. It looks like actual reality. But when you look at the PS1 version, like they had picture backgrounds. Like the map didn't move, and then the characters were just kind of, I think where they saved there is that there was a story in place. And I'm sure that takes a lot of creativity and time and employees and everything. But for the most part, they had to build it from scratch. So I still am a little bit on the fence as to whether I lean more towards no, whether a remake should be up for Game of the Year. I definitely understand why it probably shouldn't, but at the same time, I think they do deserve a lot of credit because they're satisfying so many people that played these things in the past. Like I'm taking a week off of work for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've never done that for a video game, and it's just because I want to focus on it. And it's just they and that last trailer that came out, they're giving us everything we want and so much more that we didn't even know we wanted. It's almost like if you're asking for a little bit and they give you a ton, and you're just like, oh my god, I would never even consider you to give me this one. Man, that shit's off the chain. So it's hard for me to look at a remake and be like, you don't count. You're not that good.
Here's an idea. Here's an idea for Microsoft. Here's an idea. Contact Squaresoft and do what Sony did with Final Fantasy VII. remake a Xenogears, a
Oh,
rebirth
hell yeah.
Xenogears. Do
I
that.
mean, Square Enix.
It was Squaresoft. Wasn't it Squaresoft who made that? It's
Yeah.
Squaresoft and EA, I think. But anyway, get a hold of them. Hey, listen, we'll give you this much money. Will and help us make Xenogears for Xbox. Because I'll jump on that in a heartbeat. How many people will now jump on Xenogears?
I'd have to play it. So, yeah.
That's a game that we've been waiting for years to come back out and it hasn't. You know.
Yeah, Chris.
So-
what about
Yeah, but
Parasite
there's a
Eve,
ton
dude?
of
Think about Parasite Eve.
But that's
Could you imagine
that's
a
Sony,
remake
though,
of Parasite
isn't it?
Eve? Yeah, but so was Xenogears.
But-
They came out on PS1.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
But,
Square also. So don't quote me, but if I remember correctly, Parasite Eve was made by the teams that made Resident Evil and Final Fantasy. They came together to make some kind of horror RPG game, and I
Mhm.
think it's owned by possibly Capcom.
There's a lot of stuff that they can do to get fans excited again. Look, Crash Bandicoot. I think we've been talking about that for years. There's a reason why they keep remaking that Final Fantasy VII, right?
right, because there's a
Look-
formula there that
Look at
everybody loves.
the Skyrim comes out like every 2 years, bro, and people just keep buying it. You know?
Elder Scrolls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a reason why, because it makes money. So
Yeah,
they can
I know,
they can
but
still do
this,
that on the side, but
yeah, I mean, the same way you'll see Xbox doing passion projects and stuff like that, and you'll look at them and you're like, yeah, you work for a company, it's got to be for money, but at the same time, you're like, but you got to believe, they love us, and Phil Spencer loves us, and all that stuff. It's the same thing with Final Fantasy. They actually went back and got the original producers and directors and everything. They got these old farts. They're all old little people, and they brought them back to make this, and the results is exactly and more than what we wanted. And the reason that there's multiple of them, the 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 part of Midgard, which is the city that you start in, basically you play the game and you're all in this contained city, and then eventually there's like an aha moment where you beat a certain boss, and all of a sudden the doors open and you're on a world map in traditional Final Fantasy methods. So the crazy part though is that is the first like 5 hours of the first game, and that was only the first game out of 3 games that they're making. So basically, Final Fantasy VII came out on 3 discs, and now the remake is coming out in 3 games because the new game that's coming out now, Rebirth, it comes out on 2 discs, two
Right. That's why I put it
freaking
to
heavy duty Blu-ray disc. It's gonna be 145 gigs on your hard drive, and like I don't understand how a first-person shooter is 100 gigs on your hard drive. I do understand how a vast RPG with multiple enemies and weapons and mechanics and cutscenes and 400 audio tracks. Like it makes sense to me why that would be so big. But there's only one Final Fantasy VII remake. It's just coming out in 3 big-ass parts. That by the end of it would have cost you a lot of money. But the first game, the actual Final Fantasy, the first one, if you run through it knowing everything, you could probably beat it in like 25 to 30 hours. If you're playing it for your first time, it'll probably take you 40, 50 hours or something like that. If you try to do everything in it, it'll take you about 60 to 70 hours, depending on your success and deaths and stuff like that. But if you go back to these new remakes, the first remake was almost as long as the first game by itself, and you're just coming out of the gate. Like it's just they can do so much with it, and I think Xbox should definitely explore that. It's such an easy way to make money and play off of people's nostalgia and give people something memorable and take them back. I think that's what they tried to do with Halo, but things.
they have a lot of problems with, like you said, they brought in the old timers that respected where the damn IP came from. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
They
Yep.
got that nostalgia. They're hitting on all the parts that made them great. But in a lot of situations on this side, instead of doing that, they come out with fucking Halo TV show, straight trash, had nothing to do with the damn. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's exactly why they keep hitting, and people keep buying it, man. And power to
Yeah,
them. If they're gonna make their money and everybody's gonna be happy and experience, even greater like heights that those games previously couldn't go to, it's kudos. That's an amazing feeling right there. I feel like
Look,
Xbox now has the ability to do stuff like that. They just don't know how to manage their games. They have a lot of games that come out now, like for example, Starfield is a massive game. It takes a long time to beat. Not everybody has the amount of time that, these guys on YouTube with all their free time, the game. Not everybody has that. We have jobs. We have to be specific. So you're gonna come out with Starfield, which is a huge game. That shit should take like a quarter in itself. But then you're gonna release Forza like a few weeks later. And then after that,
yeah.
you're gonna release you know what I'm saying? Like they
You
cannibalize
can't.
each other.
100%. You
And
can't do
yeah, it
that.
might be two different audiences, but you got people like Chris that just love playing video games. So they're gonna play different genres and five days a
games in one
week. You
shot.
got a different game. So I think they just cannibalized themselves.
Guess what I'm playing right now?
Did it.
Guess what I'm playing right now?
Uncharted
Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4, Helldivers. I started playing it. I don't know how I feel about Helldivers, but Uncharted 4 is dope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But even that game takes a little while to beat.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
But,
So
I'm all over the place.
For people like me that want to experience the entire story before moving on to something else, because my short-term memory is trash.
Same.
I want to experience that story. It takes me a little time, and then I can move on. But now there's so many games on the backlog that I probably never get to.
Brotato is the bomb.
No, God.
You gotta play it. Play it on your Game Pass on your Rogue Brotato. Bro, you love it. It's so much fun.
I'm gonna try. Hey, so speaking on all these things, something I wanted to bring up when the teaser trailer came out for Blade, some people were noticing that at the end it didn't say Xbox.
Xbox exclusive. Right.
What do you guys think is gonna happen with Blade?
You know what? Like I was saying earlier, that's one of those games that, I wouldn't feel like I wouldn't feel too bad if it wasn't just an exclusive game for Xbox. Thinking over it now, because I know when we talked about it in the beginning when it first previewed, I said, well, this might be our Xbox answers to Spider-Man, right? Like PlayStation has Spider-Man as an exclusive. Yeah, right, Wolverine, right. But now that I'm looking at it, it's like, you know what? Release it on Xbox. If it's, Xbox was to release it, and then a couple months later, release it on PlayStation. Why not? But give us a few months exclusivity before you release it somewhere else. I think so. I think that'd be the right thing.
I agree with you 100%. It should be a time exclusive. It shouldn't be exclusive because Blade is universal, man. Blade's the fucking daywalker, son.
And maybe Sony's listening to it and they do the same thing. Hey, you released this game on our system. You know what?
Imagine the profits they could have with Spider-Man over here.
Look, we're going to release Spider-Man for you guys in 3 months after we release it here. But it's coming to you guys too. Just give us a chance.
Yeah.
How much everybody could make money. Not only that, people who are less fortunate, they only have one console, could get to enjoy the games as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
100%, absolutely, I agree. I mean, to be honest, the fairness in me wants to say, well, let's just, if it's going to be a timed exclusive, let it be 6 months to a year, so that Xbox can hold that, and be like, this is our thing. This, like, we acquired this, we maybe fronted the money for this idea or whatever. You deserve to, at least for a while, have it. Personally, I think. And
let you guys salivate for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But what's funny is there already is a game from one console that's on the other. It's I think it's MLB The Show that's made by PlayStation Studios, but it's an Xbox game. So the Xbox box of the game has a PlayStation symbol on it as well. Kind of funny. Yeah. Just remember that.
Yeah.
And it was great. I was so happy when they released that game on Xbox, because Xbox hadn't had like a baseball game in like I like to say 8 to 10 years since 2K.
Really?
Probably longer.
Yeah, probably longer since 2K. And when they came out with the show, it was like, oh, finally we get a freaking real baseball simulation game compared to a cartoony freaking game that I didn't want. You know what I mean? So that was
I don't
cool.
think that was the Sony's move. I think that was MLB
Yeah.
that demanded either you do that or you lose the license. I read an article. Don't quote me.
Okay.
but
Well, yeah. Listen.
I think
either
that's what
way,
it was.
Good on
But
them.
yeah,
man.
it's day and date on Game Pass, and Sony gotta buy that shit. It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
But yeah, make your money, man.
Why not? Well, the same thing.
That
I mean,
stuff like that. That's baseball, man. That's international. That's what
Right.
we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
dude,
That's not
everybody
Stellar
plays normal.
Blade. That's not The
Right.
Last of Us. That's I think what makes these gaming so fun. There's a reason. I know we're fortunate to have the consoles that we have. Not everybody's able to do it, but that kind of makes what these things are special. Like Nintendo with the Marios, the Zeldas. For
Right.
me,
Metroid. Right.
you know, yeah. And then I get on PlayStation the Ghost of Tsushima's, the Spider-Man, the Last of Us, which I haven't
Right.
got to experience yet. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
Xbox, look, Master Chief all over my shit. You know?
Right.
Like that's what makes these things special, for me at least. If you have them everywhere, then I think they
Right,
kind of lose their value.
Yeah. But
But
like
at the
certain
same time,
IPs,
it's great for everybody. Yeah.
but like certain IPs, should be released to everybody. Like original, like Ghost of Tsushima is a Sony original. It wasn't like something that was out somewhere else. It's just something concept they came out with their own. So it's their own game. So I
But that
understand
was
why
a
they
new
keep it.
concept. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's to stop people from? If that's what we were gonna do before, like every new game should just be that wasn't synonymous with Xbox before, so just put it everywhere. But then you're never gonna come up with that Ghost of Tsushima type success or power. That's
a
a
good
fucking
point.
that's my favorite game
Right.
on the PlayStation.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
So if you're never taking these chances, then
That's 'cause you
see
haven't
if
got
it
over
works.
yet.
If it works, and then after a year, be like, you know what, that didn't work. Let's go make some more money and then release it. But if you do get something that hits, that's like
Right.
highly acclaimed, like Ghost for your Xbox, then keep that shit. Keep it for your
Right.
fans, man. Bring some new
Yeah.
people into your.
I agree with you on that one because if you imagine putting out a game and it blows up and everybody's buying it like crazy, and you're like, that could have
Power
been
World.
hours. And yeah, well, hey, Microsoft did put themselves next to Power World. They said, hey man, you could play Pokemon over here. But yeah, I mean, think about it. You put it out there and everybody goes crazy over it. You're like, shit, maybe that could have brought people to Game Pass. Maybe that could have sold a few consoles.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah.
You
So
got to take chances.
yeah,
Well, you
certainly.
release a hit, and then say you release a hit for everybody. Then the second one, you make a second part of it, and don't release it to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they've talked about doing that backwards. They've talked about putting that first one out there. For example, Gears of War. Put out a special edition, all the Gears of War's game up until now, kind of like what they did with Mass Effect, and be like,
Mhm.
oh, by the way, Gears of War 4 is on its way, but it's going to be on Xbox for
Right.
completely
Yeah.
exclusive.
There you go.
So you like those
There you
games? Come on over. That's a
Right.
tactic, but it's playing the long game
Yeah.
also. You got to wait for that game to come out, and who knows where it's at. It might be on the next
Right.
Xbox or whatever. So
Or the
another
handheld.
thing, or the handhelds. Apparently, you guys might know more about this than I, but apparently Xbox, somehow there was some kind of, I don't know if it was a leak or not a leak, but it was some kind of rumors coming
It's
out
a
that
rumor. Yeah.
Sony and Xbox are working on handhelds, basically. They've seen the success of the ROG Ally, the Steam Deck,
Steam Deck,
and they're like,
the Switch.
yeah.
Might go that route.
Yeah, the
Might go that
technology
route.
is in the works. And you know what? I will say it is tempting to have a handheld that you don't have to tweak the settings every time you get a new game to try to find the perfect settings to get the game to have the perfect balance of frame rate and graphics.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a pain in the ass. That's the part about PC gaming I didn't miss. But here we are.
Yeah.
So now there was another thing. GameStop They tweeted this little flyer that said, "Come join us on February 10th for the Xbox Demo Day." And they said, "Explore the benefits of Microsoft Game Pass." So this was picked up by Twitter user Wario64 that he puts out a lot of things. He's a lot of times he's in the know about stuff. And he put it out there. He was like, Microsoft Game Pass. So when asked about it, because apparently some of these media sources went over to GameStop and said, "Hey man, what is that?" And they said, "Oh, that's just an internal name that we gave Game Pass ourselves. That's something that we made up." Sounds kind of weird, but yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? What if they were to change the name? Would that be weird?
Game
I don't know.
Pass is Game Pass. That's what it's known for.
Xbox is Xbox.
Yeah.
Xbox is the home
Nah,
of Game
man,
Pass.
Wario's for the streets. That guy's a Sony fanboy.
Oh God, everybody is a Sony fanboy. Oh my God, bro. Oh God. Everybody's
work for IG.
Sony. Sony does everything.
He must
The
have IGN too.
Sony fanboys leaked all this stuff apparently. Golly.
Oh, this is all speculative rumor crap that fanboys make up, man.
Jeff Neely,
I-
wasn't
Oh
Jeff
my
Keighley? What's his name? Jeff
So
Keighley?
wait, but if next week so Phil Spencer didn't deny this, and next week he's probably gonna tell us what we all think he's gonna tell us. So how is it fanboys that are leaking this when it's legit info, or not leaking it?
We don't
but-
know it's legit. No,
I mean,
speculating.
we don't
It's not
know
legit.
yet, right?
So okay, so next
Speculation.
week
What do you
theoretically,
What do you think is gonna happen, Jay?
who
Yeah,
me? Oh,
let's see your take.
it's hard to say for sure because I don't know how much they're willing to risk, and I don't know. I think Phil Spencer and probably a couple of others up there, that Sarah Bond or whatever, are probably sitting there saying, if you give up some of these big games, it's over for us. You guys are gonna destroy us completely. And
Right.
I think that there's battles going on right now trying to come up with the speech that they're going to give at that presentation. And I think that they are, like I mentioned, on the table, laying out all the games, finding out what they can and can't put out there. I think that they're gonna. It's a business meeting, not a showcase or anything like that. No, it's hey, you're invited to this business meeting, guys. Since you found out about it, I don't know that it's going to be good news. I'm sure that they are going to spend every minute up until that thing comes out greasing it up, making it as sweet a deal as possible. And they're probably going to tell you, hey, this is something that we have to do to make Game Pass viable so that you guys can continue to play every single game for $20 a month, which is kind of a steal. For the price of 2 or 3 games a year, you get to play however many 100 games. So I think that Phil Spencer, or maybe even not Phil Spencer, maybe even somebody else is going to be the face to say what's going to happen to try to soften the blow as much as possible. But I don't think it's going to be good news. And then at that point, you're going to have to tell me how it's Sony fanboys' fault that this whole thing is happening, and it's just rumored that it's not going to happen, because I don't get that. I don't get how you could blame Sony for everything that happens to Microsoft. They're doing good.
If that shit
Microsoft
happens,
makes mistakes.
I will gladly explain it to you. If it goes down the way you're saying and Xbox is for the streets, I'll be the first one to say, Jay, you were right, man. I was wrong. No fanboys.
It wasn't the fanboys. It was people in the know, right?
I still
But
believe
this is it. Biased media, man. They just fear mongering, propaganda. Oh, Xbox is toast. Xbox is doing better than Xbox has ever done. So why is it doom and gloom time now? I feel like they're putting so much fucking heat on this that
It's
has
that Ubisoft deal, man.
Nah,
Yeah,
man.
I
I tell
will
you,
say-
it's fanboys, man.
I will say that I think that Xbox does have has gotten a bad rap. I think that while the Red Ring of Death was going on, the PS3 had a lot of other issues that were going on. But I feel, and this is just me going into my history and piecing it together as best as I can, PlayStation 2 and Xbox, that was a fight. That was a fight. And I'll be the first one to tell you, because I don't I'm a Sony guy and everything like that, but I don't associate with being a fanboy, because I'll drop PlayStation right now, no issues. I am not loyal to a company. I'm not loyal to a brand. They don't care about me. The guy who owns Sony doesn't even know I exist. It doesn't matter. So I
Right.
don't care. I don't care. I'm and and I will say maybe I am kind of loyal to Nintendo because I feel like I grew up with them, even though I know that their business practices are garbage. But still, I'm not. I don't feel it. So I'll tell you, the PS2 is the highest selling console of all time because it was a DVD player that cost half the amount of the DVD players that you can get at every store at that
Damn
time.
right. I remember. Yeah.
The kids were
100%.
like, "Mom, Dad, this PlayStation also plays
You can watch
DVDs.
movies.
Oh, we can't
Yeah.
afford that or whatever, whatever. But look how much it costs. Wait a second, this regular basic DVD player costs like I remember the
Bro,
DVD
it's
players were
great.
$600,
I know. Yeah, it was
and the
crazy.
PlayStation was like, yeah, I remember that number,
$299.
$600, and then it was $299. Boom, there you go. It's sold. So I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sold.
Now
And
the
it played great.
PlayStation 2 did have 2,000 plus games, and it had bangers, man. It did phenomenal. Now you get to the next generation, the Xbox 360 was plagued with the red ring of death, which personally, it is
But we
not
survived
their
that though.
fault.
But we survived
It
that.
was
You
gangster.
survive. Well, you guys
No,
survived
because Sony caught up.
Yeah.
Sony caught
Yeah.
up, and PlayStation 3, who was doing so bad, ended up
Mhm.
catching up and winning the generation.
that. Yeah. And at the
Because of the dead
buzzard,
red
The
ring of
Last
death.
of Us.
But yeah,
Yeah.
if the red ring of death didn't happen, like Jay said, that shit would have dominated, bro. It would have been like right now.
Yes. Quicker.
PS3 like banked a lot of money on the Resistance. Remember they gave the Resistance?
Resistance. Yeah. It
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, of course.
take off as much. They should
No,
bring that
because
back.
that was no.
It was
That was their
popular in the
answer
beginning,
to
but
Gears of War.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Sony, just like Xbox, has a bunch of shit they can bring back, man. Mag,
A
remember that? It's like 100
Yeah.
people on the map at one time.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It's like
But
the
they never took off either.
SOCOM,
They never took
bro.
off. Jesus,
Yeah.
come on.
SOCOM.
Wait, Siphon Filter. Come on, we've been
Yeah.
winning those games for years,
Right, they got
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much shit in the pipe. All of these things, and
dude. So
I'd
cool,
hate
so
to
cool.
see, as selfish as that is, I'm a tech guy. I like new hardware, so I
Right.
kind of hate to see. I work hard for my money, and I like
I would've
spending
spent
it
it.
on shit like this,
Yeah,
even though I don't get to
100%.
play it anymore. But
100%.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
it'll
don't
lose
want
that.
to. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but I do want to still mention like the PS3 had a ton of issues. I don't know if you guys remember this, maybe not, but I think you guys were off of PlayStation during that time or weren't into it. But their online went down for like 2 months. Like PlayStation
the
used to pride
breach.
themselves in, yeah, you can't hack it, you can't hack it. There was even a reward. Whoever can hack the PS3 first got like $100,000 or something like that. And it
Right.
took like 4 years or something like that for somebody to
It
finally
was like
do
a
it.
data breach. I remember that huge data breach.
Yeah. So, dude, can you imagine you can't play online for 2 months? So they took their own hits, but I think that there's no way to really wrap your mind around how bad the Red Ring of Death was. You say that you survived it, but Xbox lost billions on that shit.
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
they had to look over at Microsoft and be like, please don't kill us. Please don't end Xbox. Let us keep doing this. So they took that hit and they have a nasty scar, like a Kratos size scar like that from that ring of death. And think about how many times people walked into Best Buy and said, yeah, I'm here for an Xbox. And then the people there are like, listen, man, we've been having a lot of returns. People are pissed because this red ring of death thing, bro. Like, look, probably you should try the PlayStation 3. And that might have been a lot of the reason. Now the PlayStation 3 beat the Xbox in 1 year less. So the Xbox, let's say it was out there for 6 years. In 5 years, the PS3 sold more.
Right.
But
I
a lot
guess
of it
that
probably
fucked
had
the
to do
Red
with
Ring of
that. But then you had that moment, and I think you wanted to talk about this, BJ. That's why I wanted to make sure I stay on topic with this. Is when the Xbox One was announced, and you had that big presentation that, like you said, was ahead of its time, and people were watching it. And I saw some reactions from a lot of big YouTubers back then and stuff like that. And a lot of them were like, "Where's the games? Why do they keep talking about TV? Tell me about the games. Tell me about the games." And it never came. And then PlayStation took advantage of that opportunity and said, "This is how you share game." They did that whole thing on there, and that was almost like the end.
Well, they
really.
delayed their presentation They scratched some shit. They went to the drawing board again. Then they came out and capitalized on the miscommunication that Xbox had.
Yeah.
And that shit sent them skyrocketing, man.
And that was
I
a
remember.
brilliant
They made
tactical
fun of
move
it.
from a business perspective.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. They said,
Right.
yeah, because and the DRM thing is still something that plagues us. I'll tell you right now, and something that pisses me off every time I start up Mass Effect is that every time I start up Mass Effect, Steam opens up, and then EA opens up, and then it has to check in or whatever, and then I can play the damn game. And I took it one time to a place where I didn't have Wi-Fi, and I went to play Mass Effect, and it goes, it can't validate with EA, and I'm like, if I fucking paid for the game, why do you have to check every single time I log in? Like maybe do a monthly check or something like that. I own right, because we know that that's not even going to be a thing anymore.
I'm renting.
But
I'm renting. I'm renting.
yeah, we're all renting these games that are digital, and even the physical ones. Most of a lot of these games like don't have the full game on the disc, so the disc is a paperweight anyway, so you don't own it anyways, even though you physically bought it. But that's a topic for another day. But like now that's something that was included in that whole, oh, it's going to be online all the time and everything like that. So they should have probably approached that differently. And then here we go. They never recouped from any of these things. Not to continue to blame that, because that's in the past, but they've had to play catch up ever since. And here we are. So part of the stigma, because I know that you guys have mentioned like, oh, people hate Xbox and everybody hates on Xbox and everything like that. Taking a step back, because I'm not a person that hates Xbox. I'm a Sony person. I'm not a Sony fanboy, because I'm not a bitch for the system. I'm not licking my console or anything like that. Like I don't give a shit.
You're not a pony.
I'm not a Sony pony. Like it's fine. I have a lot of memories with
He gets a Sony
PlayStation,
bony, but not a Sony pony.
I'll tell you right now,
He's got the
PlayStation
sacred
1,
symbols behind him, bro.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jay Lion,
Nah,
dog.
man. Listen, I have the PS1 and the PS2, probably my two favorite consoles. I have them. I have all the games that I want for them. If video games end tomorrow, I'm happy with those. I don't feel the same way when I get a PS4 and a PS5 as I did back then. I'm not looking at it through the rose-tinted goggles anymore, however they say. But the reason I mentioned this is I'm being straight up, as not a Sony guy or anything like that. When I look at the landscape, I'm like, of course people kind of fuck with Xbox a little bit, because for a long time it was like you got Forza, and like you're gonna hang your hat on a racing game. Like I don't care about racing game. I know you do, Chris, so that's an understatement for you. But like what has gone on in the past 10 years that's relevant? Like
Project Gotham
Halo
Racing was dope. They have shit. It's just that they stopped shit. It's more like an arcade racer that original Xbox had, the 360 had. Project Gotham Racing was a series that was actually fun, yo. Like they have so much shit in the bank. Look at the 360 was phenomenal. It's the best time in gaming, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and they had so many IPs. Yeah, and they didn't carry those things on. When the Xbox One came out, they had Forza, they had Rise, Son of Rome, which was a fucking amazing game.
Underrated, man.
Aside from that, aside from that, like what did they really do with it?
I had an Xbox 360. That was the only Xbox that I had ever had in recent years. Since the beginning, really. I never had the original Xbox. I definitely didn't get an Xbox One, but the Xbox 360 I had, and I can list off, this is a problem, I can list off more Xbox 360 games right now than Xbox Series X and Xbox One together that I could right now. I don't know what the hell there is on Xbox. I think that they're doing a horrible job of communication, like you mentioned, and I think that might be part of the reason. Like maybe people, like the media channels or whatever, and I know there's stuff behind the scenes. I know that media is definitely political, but some of it might actually be that, like, what do you have going on? Like, communicate to us what's coming. What do you like? And I think when I found out, mind you, I'm not an Xbox guy, but when the Xbox Series X came out and they said, oh, Halo is delayed, it's not coming out, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. They should have put all hands on deck, finish Halo, and make sure that it comes in there. As a matter of fact, make it free to have it come with a console, like that PlayStation the little characters game that it has was fucking awesome. But like, you need to do something for your fans to be like, hey, this is what we're doing for you. And I think they really fucked up that. I think they really messed that up. Halo should have been day one, Xbox Series, to kind of show like, here we are, we're back. You know,
there's
I
no
couldn't
way
agree
that
with you more.
there's no way that a Microsoft Studio game should have been delayed. There's no way. I 100% agree with you that that should have been
you
released.
guys remember when it was delayed, they still had like Doritos coming out, the energy drinks coming out, and like all of those things got released in the real world, but the game didn't.
and the
And that
console
shit
had like
hurts like a mother.
Yeah.
It
It's
was
like
on the
even the
box.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked like it was supposed to come
Yeah.
out with the console, and it didn't. That I can't forgive them for that. Like this, that was your moment. You had to make that happen. Stop all the other
Like this is
studios,
what.
get everybody here. 343, I guess, was
Mhm.
the mistake. They trusted a company and they weren't on top of them enough or something. It's a shame. Like I as like, I know a lot of people look at it as a competition or whatever, but when I look at Halo not doing well on Xbox, it's actually sad. Not like I pity you, but
I agree.
like that's fucked up. Like, because, and you guys mentioned this earlier, you kind of alluded to this. If you don't have that competition, then PlayStation sleeping on their laurels is a piece of shit. Like, that's not something I'm excited about. That's not something I genuinely worry about. Now they could take their foot off the gas. And one more thing I gotta say is, like, I know that the PlayStation is known for the over the shoulder third person games or whatever, but they are fucking crazy successful, and nobody in PlayStation is complaining about them. So, I know a lot of Xbox guys are like, "Oh, what is it gonna be? Another third-person game?" Yeah, the kind that we fucking like. Yeah, keep them coming. Like, that's not an offense, and that's why I don't get offended when, like, I hear like the people hating on each other. It's like, I feel like I'm kind of out of that. I don't know. Maybe I'm
But
getting
they
old.
chalk it up to, yeah, nah, I hear what you're saying. And I think you're right. But it's, bro, Xbox wouldn't be here without Halo. Let's be honest. That
Right.
shit kept
Yeah.
everything going. So what I equate this to, every time that I think about this, I think about how the Miami Heat treated Dwayne Wade. Now we're not going to pay you after he took years of pay cuts to bring these other athletes in. That guy brought you a championship.
Not
Y'all
once.
treat him like trash. He's always looked out for the team first, and then y'all going to use business to send him off. And then you brought him back like on some petty shit. Like,
Greedy
nah, that was
bastards.
messed up, and I feel like they do the same thing. It's mismanaged. But I
It
heard
sucks.
343, it was the leadership there that was kind of hostile work environment, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on, but there's no excuse. This is your Mario, dude. This is your Mario. No game, in my opinion, plays like Halo. Halo is the ultimate shooter. For me, it's the smoothest. Bungie's amazing. They created Halo. Halo's been phenomenal. And 343 has tried to expand on that, and they've done in great places. Multiplayer has gotten to an amazing point. But, man, you're just going to treat it like that?
Right.
They kind of
It's
like a
sad.
Redfall, dude. Hype that
Yeah.
shit up, and then, Craig face.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I didn't finish that campaign yet. I didn't finish the
Of
Halo
Halo?
campaign. No, I haven't finished it yet.
The original?
It's genuinely.
No, this one.
Infinite.
The new one. Infinite, yeah.
Infinite? Oh yeah, no, it was dope.
I haven't finished it.
It was not a whole story though. You could tell they cut corners, bro.
Yeah. I got stuck playing multiplayer a lot.
Yeah, man. I know that I mentioned it to you guys like as this stuff was happening, but when I heard all this news and all these I don't know if you want to call them leaks or rumors or whatever, when I heard all of this stuff happening, like,
Fanboys.
I genuinely felt, I know it sounds really weird, but it was almost like depressing and even sad. Even though that's not like my side, but it affects everybody. Like, if, for example, speaking of the Miami Heat, if all of a sudden one of the main teams decide, hey, we're shutting down, our area is just simply not going to have a team, would the other team celebrate? Yeah, chalk that up as a win. We just not, that's one less team we have to beat. No, it would be like, no, bro, we're supposed to compete. We're supposed to, at the end of the day, have fun. and challenge each other and push each other, you know? Except for Nintendo, they just do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
And is it Sony had this cutthroat mentality, right? So what do you do now? They tried to use Starfield against you and you're just gonna give it back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I see that.
You're just gonna give it back?
Yeah.
Like, no, man. Fuck that. You can give other stuff, but come on, man. Starfield's huge and it's only gonna get better from this point on. Maybe it wasn't where people wanted it to be in the beginning, but you know with these Bethesda games, they work on them, they nonstop working, and that shit is gonna be incredible. I have no doubt by the end of it. I loved it. I didn't get back to it because I had other stuff going on, but I'm definitely gonna get back to it. I was loving games. Starfield. I'm a space ranger, dog. What's up?
Yeah.
Final thoughts on this, Chris?
Oh, final thoughts.
Emotional roller coaster right now, man. I hate to see my beloved console disappeared. So hopefully it's just a lot of smoke and no fire. And Phil Spencer, don't give in. Keep your vision going. Keep your vision going.
What if he goes on there and like it's a turning point, like you said, right? And now the business is just gonna be software. They're getting rid of everything. Your worst nightmare, or whatever you want to call it, everybody's worst nightmare since it's the end of the world, is happening. And Phil Spencer, they took this week to write down, be specific with their words, and then Phil Spencer gets there, and he just does one of these with the teleprompter, right? Yeah, we were doing this, and now man, I don't give a fuck. We not doing that. And like he just goes against what the business says.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking retires, bro. He's just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
And now they can't do anything, right? Or they're gonna come out and say Phil was out of pocket. You know, he should have.
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Is the Xbox X Series just gonna be a paperweight? What are they gonna do with it? I mean, are they gonna keep supporting the hardware? You know, what are their plans? It has to be a plan. I mean, this console has another 8-9 years of life in it, right? At least.
I don't know. Right? Usually it's about
10
7
years, right?
to 9, no?
It's about 10 years, I thought.
Oh shit! Breaking news. Jim Ryan is the CEO of Microsoft. Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense now.
The Phil Spencer mask comes off and it's fucking Jim Ryan.
It's Jim Ryan.
Hey, who's reporting? Jeff? What's his name? What's that guy's name? Jeff Kelly? What's his name? Reporting
the award show.
Is that what was reporting?
Bro,
what if whoa, that shit happens and then Phil comes in, stabs him, and he's like, could have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Sideshow Bob.
Oh man.
So yeah, bro. What are your final thoughts, BJ? Go ahead.
Nah, I want Jay to go.
No, you want Jay to go?
Oh.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot.
It'd be the sandwich, the Sony boy in the middle.
Oreo cookie.
Like a little green and blue
caramel
Oreo.
Edging. Caramel edging.
Sounds disgusting. So I as a retro guy, because I like my retro stuff and everything like that, I can't help but to look far into the future. And I don't know shit. I'm not good at speculating on what's gonna happen, everything like that. But I've been right a lot of times. So eventually, I'll be the prophet that you deserve, not the one that you need.
Except for one time you guys went right.
Not the one we need right now.
The award show. You guys went right.
Oh yeah, the award show rears its ugly face. We still owe you some bootleg trophy for that. So
yes, sir.
I think that the future is gonna be like subscription services or software, because everything is moving so fast towards cloud. You saw that the only defense that the FTC and Sony had against the acquisition was that the only real defense is that Xbox is doing so much stuff with their cloud that they can't catch up. They're going to blow them out of the water. I feel like maybe there's something to that. I feel like this is all speculation. I don't think there's going to be speculation. I don't think there's going to be another Xbox console. Maybe one more all digital to line up with whatever happens next. But I think that we're 5 years away from the internet. I think we're 5 years away from the internet being fast enough where you'll be able to stream pretty much all your games, and then people will be doing it on an Amazon Fire Stick, on their cell phones, or on one of these
And their
handhelds.
TVs.
Yeah, and I think that that's a possibility, and Xbox will be the first one there, owning all the big IPs, and Sony eventually will catch up. Their service kind of pales in comparison to what Xbox has right now, but they see the writing on the wall and they're trying to hurry up there too. And the last one will be Nintendo, chilling with their consoles, with the white or black background, with no folders, games just scattered all over the place. And they're gonna be the last ones
Cartridges.
to let physical go. Cartridges, faux life. Um, I don't know. I could be wrong. I used to think that I would hope that I'm wrong, but to be honest, I don't want a PS6. I don't feel like it's necessary. If it's all gonna be
No,
wireless, and if I'm gonna be able to really play things, I don't want to play them on my phone. But if in 5 years technology can advance pretty quick, maybe my phone will connect to my TV with zero input lag, and I could play with a controller off my phone on the TV.
mm.
Then what do I even need a console for? I would rather just have my
I mean,
my 5 consoles standing up on display and just let it die right there, you know?
man, but these consoles have so much life left, man. There's so much life left in these consoles. I don't know why they're already bringing out another two consoles out in the next 2 years. It's ridiculous. I mean,
That was a weird
Nintendo,
play,
I
right?
understand. Yeah, man. It's like, come on, man. Really? The PlayStation 5 has so much life. Yes, the Xbox X Series X has so much life yet. I mean, so Nintendo, I totally understand. You know, you can't have 3D like 32-bit graphics for the rest of your life. You know,
Yeah,
improve on
they're
that.
due.
They're due for an upgrade, man. A big upgrade at that. Um, but I come on, man. I'm still
Everybody's
like,
so pessimistic, bro.
no, I'm not being pessimistic. I bet
No, not
you're
you, but
optimistic. You know,
everybody is so pessimistic, bro.
I
Yeah.
told you, everybody's treating the Xbox like a LeBron
This
James jersey, man. They're trying to catch it on fire already. It's not even no announcement yet, but whatever.
Yeah, no. So full disclaimer, this is my last episode as a Vice City gamer. With all this
Damn.
bullshit that's going on.
Damn,
Fucking Jay killing my consoles.
10 episodes in and you're already quitting.
Oh, nah, man. I really don't think this is gonna be a big deal. I think it's just gonna be fucking on and forward with the same mixed messaging that they had before. You know, it's a little scattered, but at the same time, the media is not helping out, and I just see like the media is so irresponsible in the way they treat certain things that they're just creating chaos for no reason. We'll see what happens. I honestly don't think it's gonna be anything crazy. I don't think Halo's coming to PlayStation, but if I'm wrong, I guarantee Phil is gonna fucking retire.
Yeah,
So if
100%.
everything's
I
happening,
agree.
I don't think he's gonna be here. And then we'll find out if it really was an internal struggle between him and the higher ups or the board or whatever, how
You
that
you
corporation works.
you know how you'll find out if it was an internal struggle? Certain people start leaving the company afterwards, whether it's Phil or other people. When you start
Yeah.
hearing that, oh, so and so left, that's because there's issues. And wasn't there, I forgot, I don't know if it's, there was a recent guy who left Xbox. I forget the name, but now people are trying to like make correlations, like if maybe he left because they were already talking about these plans and he just didn't like it and he couldn't market, or he felt like he couldn't help market it.
Was it Pete
The,
Hines? No. Pete Hines
maybe it
still
was
there?
Pete Hines. Pete Hines went with somebody else now, right? I think they're with. No, I don't know
Sony.
what the hell he's doing right now. Nah, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
I mean, I feel like there's definitely some kind of internal struggles going on right now where they're doing some soul searching. I think maybe Microsoft is putting pressure on Xbox to, um, I mean, they're making the money. There's no doubt about that. But they're maybe questioning these big acquisitions. I can tell you right now, Xbox is probably not going to buy anything for a while unless it's like something small. But yeah, I
I don't
also
think that would
think
be entirely true because if
yeah,
they're gonna be all software, then they're gonna keep buying for sure, for sure.
yeah, yeah. No, you're probably right. Let's but like you said, BJ, I agree. The Xbox is not going anywhere anytime soon. These
Nah.
exclusives are not going anywhere anytime soon. And I don't think Halo or Gears will ever be on a PlayStation. And if they are, it's going to be 10 years down the line at least. When people start getting used to the idea of of different games on different consoles, and then consoles will be gone probably. But yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think people are freaking out. I think regardless of what gets said, it's gonna be fine for at least a few years. And in a few years, you see how quick things can change. We don't know what the hell's going on. So yeah, stop freaking out,
Yeah,
people.
nah. Yeah, everybody needs to chill the out. We'll see what they say next week, but I'm a firm believer that look, I bleed green, bro. I don't think that they're going anywhere. They're too strong for that. It might not show in the console sales, but they've innovated. They've gone through the trenches. Man, they went like Dante and just went into the fire. And you're gonna quit now? Like, nah, bro. Like,
when you're so
you're doing
close, right?
better than you ever did. Now you're gonna quit.
Right,
I think
and you're so
everybody
close
needs
to
to
like
chill.
being at that freaking height where you need to be, where you wanted to be all these years, and you
Bro,
can't
you're at
quit.
the point where you can kill Sony. Why would you stop now? Nah.
Take them
Let
out.
me Nah,
But don't be
everybody,
mad that
you're
don't be
still
mad
in the
that every time
game, man.
Xbox tripped, PlayStation was there to keep going up to be like, psych. Nah, it's you know
Hey,
what?
no,
Their business is
I
competing against each other, and that's they're gonna take
no,
advantage of each
right.
other's fuck ups. So,
That's the reality. And
yeah,
that's smart on
they'd be
them
stupid
to
not to.
capitalize because that
I
breeds more competition and innovation.
I
We
wouldn't want to
wouldn't be
see.
where we're at right now with Game Pass if it wasn't for that Xbox One fuck up. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying?
I can't agree
And look,
more.
Game Pass is
You're so
greater
right.
for everybody.
Oh man! All
Well,
right, fellas.
well, we've been going on and on and on and on, and I feel like we could just continue to go on, but I think we're gonna leave it right here. I think we've all said our piece on this whole thing, and let's see what happens next week. You could rest assured that we're gonna be talking about it. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Shout out to the hot dog cart.